Hey guys, Kurt here with NK Garage, and today we're going to show you the top 10 most used large shop tools that we have. This is everything that isn't included in stuff you keep in your toolbox. This is the big stuff that you definitely use a lot in your shop. And this is our top 10 used big tools. And we're going to leave it over to Nick.
Alright, so guys, since I'm probably the one that works in this shop a little more often, Kurt loves his tools, but I'm the one that loves using them. So I'm going to give you my top 10 list, starting right here. We have a Harbor Freight 500-pound hydraulic lift cart. We originally purchased this to use as a transmission hoist. This handle comes out of here with 2 bolts. You could lay the handle down, and we slid this under a truck, jacked it up to get the transmission in and out. So it's super handy. Foot pedal brings you up, squeeze to go down. Doesn't get easier than that. We use it to lift things in and out of our truck bed. Sometimes when I'm working on something in the shop here, whether it's a motorcycle, a compressor, an engine, I'll put it on top of this, jack it up to get it to a comfortable work height. Super convenient. I would not go without one of these. Next up, jump packs. I have 2 different varieties for you here. This is a full-size Napa Carlisle unit. So not only do we have a little indicator that shows us voltage, we have a cigarette lighter port and a USB port. That turns it on. 13.4 volts on there. This will jump start almost anything in our fleet, including big diesel trucks. We use this a lot. This is if we're around the shop though. Mobile, I keep this with me, and if we're going somewhere where I expect there might be a dead battery, this is just the NOCO Boost, the GB70. So you have not only USB charging ability, you can charge this either from a micro USB or a different charger. Has a flashlight built in. And then this is super nice for on the go jump starting. Comes in a little bag with a charger. Really great to have around if you're going to be going mobile and expect that you might have a low battery somewhere. Next on the list, this is a Hobart Handler 210 MVP MIG welder. So this gives you the ability to run 120 volts or 220 volts depending on how your shop is set up and what thickness material you're going to be welding. We use gas. We started out using flux. Flux is great for certain scenarios. Gas gives you a little bit better of a weld. We've had this thing for a long time. It's put in a lot of hours. And it does a pretty wide range of different thicknesses. It'll do pretty thin metal. I've had success with welding exhausts and things of that nature, and it'll go thick enough to weld heavier things for equipment. So great welder. Hobart, believe it or not, is made by Miller, so this is very similar to a Miller machine, coupled with just a few different things here. I think this is like a Harbor Freight auto dimming welding helmet. You're going to want to throw that in. You don't want to be stuck with a non-automatic dimming welding helmet. So great welder for your, I would say, hobby to light shop use. It's been fantastic for us. Next thing here, this is a new purchase. So we've had in the past manual fluid extractors. If you're changing the oil on certain tools, they put the drain plug in the worst spot, don't they? You go to drain it, that oil gets everywhere. It makes a horrible mess. So a manual fluid extractor, you pump this yourself, and that sucks fluid for you. This is an OEM Tools 1.5 gallon manual and pneumatic. So on here on the back, we've got a compressor fitting. You hook this thing right up to your compressor, turn the valve, and now this thing will suck as long as you have available shop air. Fantastic for draining gasoline, draining oil, transmissions, things that are hard to reach where the drain plug either drains in a bad spot, or in some circumstances, I have a jet ski outside. You cannot change the oil without one of these. There is no drain plug. You put this right through the dipstick tube and suck the oil out. That pneumatic function makes it effortless. So I really recommend that. That's going to segue into our next item. You can't use that pneumatic function without a compressor. Now, by no means is this thing a shop level, shop duty, heavy duty compressor that's going to run for you all day. But it puts out enough pressure and enough cubic feet per minute to do your average shop work. We don't run a lot of air tools around here, but we do a lot of use with the blowgun, blowing up tires. We have some air tools, and this will run it, but this is a great compressor. These Fortress compressors from Harbor Freight, this one especially, it's the ultra quiet version, very quiet. It's not like those old compressors where you get a headache after 10 minutes of running it. Very quiet, pretty quick to air up, and the duty cycle is extremely long, so you can run it for a long time without it shutting down on you. I would definitely recommend this compressor if you're in the small shop type deal. Moving on, we have this old Sears Roebuck & Co. Craftsman drill press. So this is a variable speed. You just manually switch the belts between pulleys here. Great little drill press unit, heavy duty. If you're gonna do yourself a favor, try not to buy a new one. Maybe hop on Facebook Marketplace and get yourself an old used American one. It may come with attachments. In this case, this one came with this really nice base cabinet. So down here, we have a couple different drawers. We have our different vices for drilling. I have some blocks for propping things up in the vise, little V blocks and such, clamps, drill bits. This drawer is a little bit more towards milling. We don't have a mill, but I have some bits, so I keep them down here. And then you have a whole nother section for your larger stuff. So that was an awesome little find with this drill press. One more thing to show off is this little clamp in the back. So this adjusts to height, and then you can stick whatever you need under it and then clamp down on it so it's not wiggling around on you. I watch a lot of videos where people hold the things that they're drilling. That's super dangerous, especially if you're drilling a piece of metal. That drill bit gets caught in there, it starts spinning around. It can really do a lot of damage to not only you as a person, but things around you. So see if you can find yourself a clamp like that. It's really nice. Next thing right next to it, we're in a line here. This is an Atlas bandsaw. Once again, just an older USA made. Came with a cart. We store all of our extra bandsaw blades down here. It's not a huge high capacity machine, but I use this a lot for making little jigs or stuff for welding. Do a lot of cutting of cardboard to make templates and things. Making quick, intricate cuts. It's really nice to have one of these. I wouldn't say it gets used every day like the drill press or compressor, but it's something that I like to have, and when I do use it, it's very handy. Just like the next item here. This is a Harbor Freight 20-ton shop press. It really speaks for itself. 20 tons. We do a lot of bearing pressing. Sometimes Kurt comes to me with some bent tools, and this baby does her best job straightening them out. It's great to store your power cables on it too. Once again, it doesn't get used every day, but if I had to build a shop without this, I'd be trying to do this press, with a sledgehammer or something. They're not super expensive. Get yourself one of these if you have the room.
Nick, I'm going to interrupt you for a second because
Go ahead.
When we bought this shop press, I think it was the first night we had it, we replaced the eyelet bolt here and there. And can you tell us what happened with the ones that came with Harbor Freight?
So we were pressing. I don't know if we were really pressing anything important. I think we were just crushing cans or something. We wanted to test out our new press. And we got the hydraulic cylinder here to pretty close to full extension. And one of these Chinese eye bolts, these are the ones that we've since replaced, exploded. And this spring just went across the shop. This was before we had this shop here. But it was very dangerous, and we immediately got some high quality, these are just Stanley eye bolts, and we felt a lot safer about this since. That was quite a scary experience. Not only the spring shooting across the room, but the noise it made.
Yeah, it was like a gunshot went off.
Yeah.
And it was that first night. And yeah, we were kind of testing the limits, I guess.
Yep.
But
I'm glad it happened then instead of sometimes when you're pressing and you're bending something straight, you kind of have your eyes down in here. Luckily, I have glasses. But if that went off and you were in there with your face, that could have been pretty bad. So that's something to look out for, especially when you're buying these Chinese tools. Inspect things. These bolts they give you aren't that great. So if it doesn't look right, maybe just replace it off the bat. The next thing, he's got more to say.
See, I got a funny story because my buddy one time he got an engine stand from Harbor Freight, and instead of it coming with like 4 wheels, you know, 2 of them were the lock wheels and or the 2 of them were the swivel wheels and 2 of them were the straight wheels. Instead of coming with 4 wheels, it came with 3 swivel wheels, no straight wheels, no 4th wheel, and yeah, he put a block of wood in there, and that's how he
2x4 with a hole drilled down the middle will do everything a wheel does except roll.
Yeah, so Harbor Freight sometimes can sometimes you need to
quality control.
Yeah,
you need to watch out for the quality control. But moving on to our next item, getting away from some of the Chinese-made stuff. The item I'm talking about isn't here.
But it's not the tractor?
It's not the tractor either.
Oh.
It's up above us. So I turn on the light up there. I don't know what Kurt can actually show you. But up there, we have, it's a Budget brand, Budgit. It's a 1/2 ton chain lift. Now, what that's attached to up there is questionable. I know that it will support human load. So let's say you can put 250 pounds on that. That's all I would lift with it. But this crane is very handy. We have an attic above here. If you need to get something heavier up or down or something awkward and you're one person, chain lift is great to do it. Aside from that, I use it when I'm servicing motorcycles, or we have our plate compactor gets brought in here, and if I want to lift something up, this is a great way to do it. So effortlessly I can lift the front of this tractor off the ground. So now if I want to do something with the front axle here, wheel bearings, take a wheel off, I didn't have to do anything. I have no worry, well, aside from what it's hooked to up there, the chain itself is very sturdy. I'm not worried about that falling down. I mean, I'd still use a jack stand if I was getting under this, but chain hoist is a really great thing to have, and these can be had pretty cheap at flea markets or sales. If you see one, you probably should pick it up.
I think we got ours for about $5.
Yeah, $5 sounds about right. Some people don't know what they're worth. I would keep an eye out for one of those. But we have one more item to get you to 10. So let's go in the other room because we haven't set one up in here yet. So don't mind the mess here in our workshop. But item number 10 on the list. Let's get you some more light. It's really dark.
It is dark, yeah.
There we go. It's a little better. Maybe you come from this side. We'll just cut this out. Alright guys, item number 10 on the list. For any shop, I don't care what you're doing, a vise should be up there. I don't care what vise, even a Chinese vise is better than no vise. But in our case, we have this Athol vise. I don't even know how wide it opens because I've never maxed it out. This thing is great for clamping things, working on things. I even have, this is like a piece of guardrail section. So you can open this thing up. And this guardrail section falls down in here, and now you can use this as a flat little plate. I use this for mocking up stuff for welding. It's good to clamp to, it's flat. But a good vise in any shop is super nice to have. You use it a lot more than you think you're going to. Get one that swivels, that's nice. A lot of the more modern ones have the pipe clamp too. That's something I would look out for. Get one used. I see them on Facebook Marketplace all the time, or even at a little flea market or a garage sale. If you see a good American-made vise, I'd throw some money down for it.
Yeah, and I mean, a little thing I would add into, you know, a lot of times sometimes bigger isn't better. Like sometimes, you don't need the biggest, best item. But when it comes to vices, I mean, don't think about the huge, absolute monster ones. But some of these bigger vices, I mean, I do everything with this. I've done, servicing ratchets, cleaning tools, very small little things I do with this big vise just as well. So it doesn't hurt to go a little overboard. I'd rather be using this bigger vise for something small than trying to be doing a big job with a small vise.
And these old vices, there's not a whole lot that can go bad. There are pieces that can crack if they're really abused. But it's not a bad idea. Even if you see one that's a bit rusted, they clean up really well. Mm-hmm. Take them apart, service the threads and everything in there, clean them up, grease them, and you'll have a vise that'll last you a lifetime.
Yeah, just look out for welds. You don't want anything that's been repaired with cruddy welds. You don't want that bad weld job.
JB Weld, bubblegum. People will put anything on here to fix this. But that will conclude our 10 most used items in our shop. I'm going to throw in one extra for you though. So if you'll follow me back out here. So we live in the Northeast. In the winter, it gets cold. I heat my house with wood, and unfortunately, this garage isn't heated. It is insulated, but it's not heated. So if you leave the doors open, you get a little bit of warmth, but working in here in the winter can be a little bit of a chilly endeavor. And I know that's probably the case for a lot of you guys. Go to a garage sale and get yourself a salamander heater, a diesel heater, even a propane heater. We also have a propane powered little buddy. It doesn't put out nearly the same heat as this, but these are good. They put out a lot of heat. They're relatively fuel efficient, and they're to be had.
115,000 BTUs.
They're to be had for pretty cheap prices. Now, I will recommend get yourself a carbon monoxide meter. These do put out carbon monoxide, and that, will make you pass out and possibly die. So, always crack a door. In this case, when I run this, I open the rear man door of my garage, and I open the garage door, so I have it suck in new air and heat that. It does smell a little bit diesely. That's why you can get the propane ones. They're much more efficient, and you don't have as much of a worry. But no matter what you do, this should just be on your list anyway, just a digital carbon monoxide alarm. You want to keep yourself safe if you're working in the garage. I know a lot of guys work alone in their garage. Last thing you want to do is pass out, and then, the worst happens to you. So these two go hand in hand. I think any heating source, you probably want to get one of these, but having heat in your garage is nice. So check out garage sales and things for those. They're all over. We see them all the time. But I think that concludes it. Kurt, you have anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I think that was great. Thanks for showing us all that, Mr. Nick. And to anybody that's still around, who's still watching this video, go check us out at NK Landscaping. We've got new content up every week, every Wednesday at 9 a.m., where you get to see videos about equipment, various landscape installs, repairs, drainage, excavation, and every week there's something different. So Nick runs that channel, and I also will be there helping him. Check us out, and stay tuned for more videos with NK Garage and NK Landscaping. Thank you guys, and have a great day.